Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are the latest entries in the long-running series, and this time takes place in the Paldea region. Sporting some new mechanics to enhance the gameplay, you will be sent on an adventure that will see you visiting pretty much every corner of the map. It does so in an open world format, and while this is very exciting, there are some issues that hold it back from being truly great. As mentioned previously, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet take place in the Paldea region. Your character is the new kid in town and is on the verge of starting their academic year at either Naranja or Uba Academy, depending on which version of the game you play. While it does follow the traditional storyline of catching them all and being the best like no one ever was, there are actually 3 stories to enjoy as you make your way through the game. While they are nothing new in terms of Pokemon storylines, I found them to be surprisingly entertaining. Each of the stories pertains to a specific character or even the academy, and the different branches tend to weave together quite nicely. There are some really cool moments in the story, and over time I at least started to care about the characters. Their personalities shine through brilliantly during the cutscenes, and this doesn't apply to just the humans either. The legendary Pokemon Koraidon and Miraidon from Scarlet and Violet respectively also have some fantastic moments. They can be pretty cute at times and even have some tender moments, which was quite reminiscent of Toothless from the How to Train Your Dragon films. When it comes to the stories, Victory Road covers the traditional story of gathering 8 badges from gym leaders and then challenging the Elite Four at the Pokemon League. However, the extra layer introduced in Sword and Shield is present here, where you have to complete a trial of sorts before being able to challenge that gym's leader. They aren't particularly challenging, but it is a nice fun activity before battling it out. Path of Legend sees you seeking out Titan Pokemon in order to battle them and find the Herba Mystica. The Titans themselves are essentially much larger versions of Pokemon you'll find in the world, however they don't put up the biggest fight. For the most part, you should be able to take them down without much of an issue. The storyline itself is fantastic though, and honestly had me feeling a little emotional at times. Starfall Street is the storyline that sees your character taking on a villainous organization. In this case, it's the Paldea region's Team Star, although this isn't the usual fare where you take on each member you find in battle. Instead, you'll visit each of the Team Star bases, send out 3 Pokemon from your team, and must defeat a certain number of enemies within 10 minutes. This all happens in the overworld though, and utilizes the game's Let's Go feature, which sees your Pokemon auto-battling others while walking around with you. It's a bit of a race against the clock, but can also be a challenge if your team isn't varied enough when it comes to type advantages. The only way you can heal them is by using a vending machine located inside the base. However, if all of their health has been depleted before doing so, you'll fail and have to begin again. Hit your quota though, and you'll be able to take on the base's leader. It's actually pretty exciting, and the Let's Go feature changes up the challenge somewhat. Being an open world experience, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet allows you to take on gyms, titans, or bases in the order of your choosing. Of course, this means that you could show up at one of these points before being at the appropriate level range, which adds a substantial challenge to your path. This also means that you will have a rather easy time later down the line though. The choice is all yours. Personally, I mainly tried to take on one of each as I traveled, but there were some instances where I took on 2 gyms in a row before switching it up. The open world format is a joy, and visiting each of the biomes means new Pokemon to find and catch so you can fill your Pokédex. I love the freedom of being able to go wherever I wanted and stumbling upon new items, rare Pokemon, and mass outbreaks. Plus, Pokemon can even be seen in the overworld and will approach or even avoid you. Bug types hang from trees and flying types hover above you. Additionally, traveling becomes easier as you progress through the game, with Koraidon and Miraidon learning new abilities. Even battling trainers has been improved, as you no longer have to avoid their gaze if you don't feel like taking part in a battle. You actually have to go up to them and start a conversation before a battle will ensue. Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet each have their own Terra type and can enhance their abilities during battle by terastallizing. Along with a flashy transformation, this allows the Pokemon to become their Terra type. Using attacks that match the Terra type makes them even stronger, however it also adds a nice layer of strategy where with some Pokemon you can change their type mid-battle. For example, an electric type like Pikachu could possibly change to a flying type and essentially be immune to ground type attacks. It's honestly a great feature, and it looks cool to boot. Game Freak have also somewhat mitigated the one-time use change made to TMs. While this is still the case in Scarlet and Violet, a TM machine has been introduced which allows you to craft additional copies of the one that you found. Finding a TM in the world also unlocks the crafting recipe, and each time you defeat a wild Pokemon, they drop materials. Most of the time you'll even have the required materials before you've even unlocked the recipe, simply because they're in abundance. The machine can be found at each Pokemon Center too, so they can be accessed fairly often. Speaking of crafting, you can also create some sandwiches when you're having a picnic. Recipes can be found all over Paldea and each one provides different buffs, be it for encountering certain types, increasing the rate of getting eggs, or even making it easier to catch certain types. You can also order meals from stalls and cafes if you don't want to buy fillings and condiments to make sandwiches, however the latter is definitely the cheaper option though. Also, the Let's Go feature comes in handy a lot when getting the required amount of materials or just trying to level weaker Pokemon. All you have to do is hit the R button and your lead Pokemon will head out and battle wild ones or even just pick up items. Wander too far from them though and they will return to their Pokeball. It's great for exploring when you don't want to fight the same wild Pokemon over and over. Not all is well in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet though, as the visuals and performance leave a lot to be desired. The visuals are fine for the most part, character models of people and Pokémon look really good inside, and in battles and the glossier textures shine beautifully. Other times though, it looks a bit rough. The environments can get fairly blurry and there are times when models in the distance pop in and out of nowhere. In addition to this, the performance is quite choppy. This applies to scenes when NPCs struggle to move at the same frame rate as the main characters, but also when you're out exploring. Just riding Koraidon or Miraidon in the world can be a little hard to look at. Nintendo have confirmed that they are dedicated to fixing these issues, so let's hope we don't have to wait too long until the game is in a better state. The audio is actually fantastic though, and sports a varied soundtrack that changes depending on the biome you're currently in. There are some really great tunes that bring an equal measure of funky tracks with bass-laden riffs and fast-paced electronic music. I do wish that there was voice acting for some of the cutscenes though, because there are a good number where it could work really well. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are really good. It delivers an entertaining story with branches that weave together nicely and the personalities of the characters shine through brilliantly. The open world format of the game works incredibly well and I sincerely hope that this is the way forward for future games. The Let's Go feature also makes exploring that much more enjoyable, and Terra types and terrestrializing adds a surprising layer of strategy to battles and looks really flashy as well. The visuals and performance do dampen the experience though. There are times when I thought the game looked really good and then other times it looked like a step backwards for the visuals. The same rings true for the performance, which can be incredibly choppy as the frame rate struggles to keep a steady pace. I sincerely hope that this is remedied soon though, as it puts a blemish on the experience of an otherwise great game. If you enjoyed this review, please don't forget to hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you got your hands on Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, please let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.